That doesn't look right. Ah, I moved the video for the intro screen. I'll need to fix that. Well, okay. Come on in. Here we go. Let's go live. I have 2 DMs though. That's interesting. I'm was invited to participate in the live stream beta for TradingView, so I hope that's it. Let's actually. I guess I find out after the stream. I'll do this for now. Okay, folks. Bitcoin has been playing rather ridiculously, and excuse my hotkeys. I am have been imprinted with a different software, so I might do something weird. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this mean reversion condition. Let's get a cat loaded up. Should take no more than a few seconds. Quad CCI is no longer weighted either direction. It's a pretty neutral chart here on the macro level, 4 hour. I just want to see what ACAT looks like because we do have this particularly clean 3D wave PM reading based on that 140 period. As soon as that loads up, we will get a mean reversion condition, but do note that the condition is almost over and trend resumption in either direction is just about viable. So we predicted that because we had entered this blue band, it would imply we needed to revert exactly down to this moving average. Well, that's exactly what happened. If you watch my live streams, you know we recommended a long position right at $8,640 on the 4th, which was just the mean here. Of course, that slowly traveled up, and by the time that did come down and test, well, it tested exactly on the mean that we predicted, in addition to the 3.2 standard deviation of our compression period, which is defined by this blue area here. It's also worth noting that our compression range is seeing a small amount of expansion. Typically, that doesn't mean too much as long as the 3.2 standard deviation remains defined. From what we can see, because there was no true expansion here, volatility overhead does remain intact. So even though this compression range is sloping downward, I would not expect any extreme lows below 8,383 at this current time. Or at least if we were to drop down that far, price would have to stall before trend continuation, unless there was some insane downward force applied to price action. Let's go ahead and take a look at this on the 1 hour chart, because I know things should be a little bit different with all these converse expansions. I do know that the readings are going to be slightly messy, but let's just wait till ACAT loads up and shows us the magic. Okay? All right. Wow, that's actually really clean. Wow, I like this chart. So we have this initial mean reversion condition here, right? And let's just full screen this. Let's explain this as good as I can. So if we enter this purple band, it means we travel down to this purple mean. That happened, okay? Compression condition, great. We stayed in this green band very well, and when we finally broke out the bottom, we did tag the lower edge, that 3.2 before stalling. Yes, this is super wide. I would recommend looking at this compression range on a higher time frame, which honestly we already did. However, it did stall in this band here, which is great. So what's next? Because this technically counted as a downward expansion, what happens? Well, because we have initial expansion, we can, in theory, bet against trend by re-entry of the 3.2 standard deviation to the downside of our current longest overexpanded period. And when we go inside the purple band, which is defined here, at this location, what does it mean? Well, just like when we entered this purple band, it meant we would go to this moving average, which happened. Because we entered this purple band, well, we went to this moving average. That happened. Very, very nice. So the reason this is a slightly muddy reading is because we did see a volatility pop to the downside outside the 1.25 standard deviation of the current longest overexpanded period. And what you will notice is that volatility did hold. So if we take a look at 3D wave PM here, This is a very clean chart, much to my surprise. So we define volatility overhead with this here, okay? It's the boundary between the green and the orange, and we say that because there's volatility overhead, what does overhead mean? All right? Imagine you are trying to jump on a pogo stick, and you really want to jump as high as you can and as far as you can, because as soon as you jump high enough, then you escape Earth's gravity and you fly off on your own. Ooh, that's a better analogy. Let's do that. Sorry, let's start over. So you are trying to launch a rocket ship that requires force to escape Earth's gravity. The farther away you get from Earth, the less gravity has effect on the rocket. So this represents that tipping point of gravity, okay? As long as we have rocket fuel jet liftoffs like this that are below the threshold for escaping Earth's gravity, those rockets come crashing back down to Earth. All right? However, in this example, gravity slowly reduces more and more and more as time goes on, which is the one weird thing, but it should make sense, right? Because as gravity reduces, that means your rockets can go farther with less fuel until eventually that there is so little overhead that price can do whatever the hell it wants with any amount of force in any direction. So that's kind of what's happening here. We see this downward spike, but it can't really continue trend because volatility overhead, or gravity, pulls it back down to Earth and back into a state of compression. All right, very nice. So there's not enough potential energy, or at least there wasn't, to see trend resumption at that time. Now, I wouldn't have been able to trade anything off of that because it's highly volatile, and we did not tag the swing low 3.2 standard deviation of either the 1/10th period or the LOXP itself, which are my two benchmarks for catching volatile moves to the downside. What this still means is we get a new compression range, and we define that, you guessed it, based on this nice blue area underneath this most recent expansion. And because of that, well, that acts as our new little area of gravity, and it's containing price pretty well. And guess what we can do? We can go at a lower time frame and see that range still hold true. If you're interested in using these indicators, you can check any of the links in the signature of this video, and they are available for subscription. I'm also tentatively announcing that they have been ported to multi-charts. However, that is not yet available, and you will have to hear about that soon. Nice. Once again, we get our compression range here on the 15-minute chart. You'll notice it does hold pretty well. A few volatility pops to the upside and to the downside. That was very nice. You see this tag, the 3.2 standard deviation to the downside. That would have been an excellent area to enter a long, because one, we know that the expansion was not strong enough to resume trend, and two, because of the current longest compressed period or volatility overhead reading, guess what we see? Rejection and return to compression. So let's define our supports and resistances. All right. If you want to attempt to long 8,000, or I'm sorry, if you want to attempt to short 8,900 and long 8,550, those are your two values for long and short positions. You can also attempt 8,667 as well as, or 8,000 and 8,796 at higher risk, but still potentially profitable. So ideally, if you go outside this value, you want to short when it re-enters, and if you go outside this value, you want to long when it re-enters. And then you can just set static sell and static buy off of those two values. Those are our support and resistance lines for today. Let's go ahead and take a look at our YouTube comments. I can look at Link USD. Let's jump right into it. Did you say Link USD? I'm going to look at Link BTC, my man. Because Kind of annoyed. Actually, I released a trade call for a link, and I didn't post it. Yeah, that's because it entered the full compression range, which is fine, right? Because we had this defined as our mean reversion condition. It activated, and then it mean reverted. And that happened as I was posting the call, so I didn't post it. And honestly, that's fine. But right now, here on the 4-hour chart, that is pretty tempting now, isn't it? Yeah, because we attempted to enter here, or at least I did. I stopped out immediately and then trend resumed. So I did not catch that retracement value correctly, and I kind of just gave up on it. I probably should have paid closer attention because that turned out pretty well. Ooh. Ooh, yeah, I'm sorry. That's trend continuation. That is implied upside. That's very strong. We are pushing along that 3.2 standard deviation to the upside, but I do believe that is trend continuation just based on this reading, because this is a rare reading, and that expansion is happening. Slope is up, slope is up, slope is up, slope is up. Everything is weighted to the upside on CCI. Everything is positive here. And potential energy is increasing, or rather there's high potential energy and there is increasing force to the upside. So this does imply trend continuation, very, very strong, okay? I would attempt to find entry on link, try to catch that swing low. I'm gonna, risky. Hey, create new stream. Yeah, I was right. I can stream on TradingView. All right, well, starting tomorrow, I'm gonna start trading or streaming on TradingView, guys. How's that sound, eh? Probably good. Probably stream right now. Think about it. All right, dad check out. Ciao.